Hello, coaches! Welcome back to another episode of Coach Better Spotlight. Today, I'm chatting with Nneka Johnson, Director of Innovation at the International School Dakar in Sudan. Nneka is another guest who is featured in our new project, Women Who Lead. And just like our previous Coach Better episode with Dr. Sauce and Jabber, my conversation with Nneka and Women Who Lead had so many great connections to our episodes here, I wanted to make sure to share her brilliance with you, too. This Spotlight episode focuses on Nneka's strategies for building meaningful relationships with all of her colleagues at school. We know as coaches that relationships are the key to coaching with impact, and Nneka has been able to make great strides in her school in a very small amount of time because of the relationship she builds. In the full-length audio podcast, we discuss the evolution of the role of technology director to director of innovation and what that means for schools today, as well as the changes Nneka has been able to establish at ISD during her tenure and the expectations she has for teaching and learning this academic year during the COVID-19 pandemic. To hear the full episode, subscribe to Coach Better wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoy today's episode, you will love all of the resources and professional learning experiences we're curating for you here at Eduro Learning. Check out our website to see all of our latest offerings at edurolearning.com. Okay, welcome back to another episode of Coach Better. Hi, Nneka. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. I'm glad to be here.
Yay! I am super excited to be here with Nneka Johnson, who is the Director of Innovation at the International School Dakar. And we actually met as part of the Women Who Lead project. And I had such a great conversation with Nneka that day. And so many bits and pieces came up about coaching and leadership that I thought it would be a perfect follow-up to have a conversation here on Coach Better. So before we get into all of those pieces that kind of came out during the Women Who Lead interview, Nneka, can you tell us a little bit about your education background and your experience and how you ended up at ISD in this position?
Yeah, of course. So when I was growing up, I always wanted to do something with computers and technology. It was always my passion. I remember in third grade, my parents signed me up for a computer class at Brooklyn College, where it was like, you remember 10, go to 20, 30, run. You know what I mean? It was that kind of
logo, right?
Computer course. Yes, totally. And then you hit enter and it just, so that was always something of mine. Always a passion of mine. And then somehow I decided wanted to go into social work, which is, I don't know. And then something happened and I'm just like, no, technology and learning is my passion. So I said, I'm doing computer social work, right? So it's really weird, right? So then I went to grad school and I earned a master's in instructional technology. But I remember I had an internship and it was with Atlanta Public Schools. And I remember that one day being in a group of, it may have been like 100 at least teachers sitting down, and there was someone in front of the room and she was explaining how to use like some kind of tool to help them grade or something along those lines. And I remember doing this and I remember saying, oh my God, that's what I want to do. I want to work with teachers. I want to teach teachers. I want to help teachers. And consequently, I was working at a private school at that time, and I was there for 13 years as the lead instructional technology specialist, where I worked with teachers. I taught teachers. I coached teachers how to use technology tools. And it kind of shifted from technology. Technology was the foundation, but it became more innovative classroom tools. And that's what brought me to the International School of Dakar. While my title is Director of Innovation, I feel like it's so broad, right? Like when I applied for the job, it was Director of Technology. But because of my skill set and what I had to offer, the head of the school changed it to Director of Innovation. And because he felt like I had a lot more to offer than just technology. And so now my job is shifting into more of not just technology, but teacher. How can I help teacher A grow? It may be something I have no idea how to do, but I know how to find resources. I work well with people, and that's my passion.
And when we were talking on the Women Who Lead call, we were talking about how you are able to have so many, not only difficult conversations, but so many deep conversations with your colleagues because of the relationships that you build. And you're still relatively new to this school, but you feel like you've made all this progress because of these relationships.
Yeah.
And on almost every one of these calls, we talk about how important relationships are in a coaching context. And I think the Women Who Lead conversations reminded me, re-inspired me, really got me thinking about how critical those relationships are in a leadership role too. And so I was wondering if we could talk about how you are building those relationships so successfully in such a short period of time. What are some of the aspects of those conversations that are really important for not only coaches, but also leaders to know?
Yeah, sure, of course. So the one thing about me, my husband says it's a bad thing. I have an excellent memory. Like and I remember things about people, and that goes a long way. I know it may seem so silly and so simplistic, but I will remember something like, well, what about your daughter? I know she's going. I'm like, what? I'm like, I just remember everything. And the thing I know is about what's human nature, people just want to know that you care, right? And like I really do. Like for instance, let me give you a perfect example. A teacher, came to the IT department one day and said, "Oh, something's wrong with my phone," because we provide the phone, the SIM cards. And he said, "Well, I'm going to talk to the guy who's going to work with it, but he said it's fine or whatever." Like one Saturday, like 2 weeks afterwards, it popped in my head, and I shot him an email. I said, "Hey, what about your phone? And did you get it all squared away?" Those types of things, like those, and I show great gratitude, like seriously, and I'm so sincere with that. Let me give you a perfect example. This is how I am in my job with people. We're a bunch of us are taking a global online academy course, design boot camp, and there was, I think her name is Alexis. She works at Global Online Academy, and she was so amazingly helpful. I spoke to her the first time I spoke to her. I called. We had such a great rapport. I was like, she's awesome. And then because I was registering like 70 people, and there was a lot going back and forth. I had a spreadsheet. I asked her questions. I was a pain in the butt, but she was always so gracious. So the course started. Everyone started taking the course. They got their credentials. So one day, Saturday, I'm on my treadmill, and it's like at 9:30 at night because that's when I work out. And I was like, you know what? I need to email her and thank her, right? So I didn't pause it, but I slowed it down, and I emailed her, and I emailed her a really in-depth paragraph, two or three paragraphs. I said, "Thank you for all your help." I said, a lot of times people don't understand the work it takes to get the back end work it takes for some initiatives. And I appreciate you for always being so gracious and always willing to answer my questions and always being so kind. Thank you for your hard work. And, I'm sure that meant a lot to her because I was so sincere. And a lot of times people don't feel like they're cared about, and I really try that, like if someone emails me at let's say 11:30, this may not be a good thing, 11:30 p.m. at night. If I can answer the damn question at 11:31, I'm answering it, right? Like, and they're like, "Oh my God." And some people are so shocked that they hear back from me so quickly. And if I don't have an answer, I will email them and say, "I don't have an answer." So what that does, it builds this positive culture around me in the sense of, well, Nneka's approachable. I can talk to her about this. Oh, she's there for us. Just even going into classrooms. I know I'm all over the place, sorry. But like even going to classrooms, there's a kindergarten teacher who I visit her class like once every few weeks just they dance to Kids Bop. Right? Like, I mean, it's just the silliest thing. It's so much fun, but just that type of thing. So I know if I said, "Hey, would you like to do this?" She would say, "Yeah, sure, of course," because you've shown interest in me, in my craft, and what I do. People just want they just want to feel like you care. And once they feel that and they feel like they can trust you, sky's the limit.
So you mentioned that you have a very important natural attribute of having a great memory, and you're probably not going to have to know how to answer this question because you don't need to do it. But what about the people who this does not come naturally to them? I was talking with somebody else I'm working with. I think you know that we do a microcredential called the Coach, which is designed for coaches who want to deepen their coaching practice. And it's a year-long program with content. And then I'm a mentor, and we have another mentor that works with us as well. And so we're doing a custom cohort of the Coach for a school in China over this next academic year, which is great. So all of their coaches are going through it. And I was working with the director of innovation there and talking about how to kind of get started. And one of the things that we're doing is walkthroughs with the teachers. And I said, if they haven't done classroom walkthroughs before, this is something new to them. One thing I know I personally struggle with is I don't remember all those details. Like I just get overwhelmed by too many people and too many little bits and pieces. So I tend to use a spreadsheet, and I will literally list the names of all the people I spoke to and just write some notes for myself. Don't forget to go back next week because such and such is happening and it's at this time, whatever. And like I step outside the classroom, I take my notes, I move on to the next person because for me, I have to get it out of my head. It sounds like you can kind of keep it inside your head, but maybe you have other strategies too. Like, is there anything else you would recommend to be that person that is able, like, just because I don't remember doesn't mean I don't care, right? Like my brain just can't keep it all in there. So for me to demonstrate my caring, I have to do that extra step.
Well, there's also too, just when you have a conversation with someone, there's body language, there's listening. So like if I'm talking to, let's say I have a terrible memory and I'm talking to a teacher and she's saying, if I'm like this, yeah, girl. Oh, what? Oh, yeah. What? Oh, yeah. Right? But if I'm listening or I'm sitting there and I'm taking notes and I'm listening intently, that shows something, that builds trust. Perfect. I can give you a specific example. So my goal is I want to learn, and I'm like a consummate learner, right? I want to learn everything. So now the other day, before COVID hit, I started to shadow our ELL teacher in the younger grades, ELL/learning support. And she was going to start giving Dibbles tests to place students. She was going to show me how to give the test, right? And I remember sitting down with her, taking notes, and she was talking through this, and she was showing me how she was doing this, and I took interest in her role. And it was a low stakes interest because I'm not her boss. I'm not, I'm there because I truly want to learn from her. And I think a lot of times if you can frame it in that context, even though you're the coach, right? You're the coach, I'm going to come and coach you to be better or whatever. But you can always learn something from the person you're coaching. And if you come in from that perspective, like, okay, so tell me about how you teach. Tell me about your teaching style. Tell me about what is important to you in the classroom, right? That goes a long way too. And you'll have to remember, their daughter's birthday. You know what I mean?
That is such a good point. And I think that point hits on so many different levels. It hits on I love the building relationship piece of it, but it also hits on I value you as an educator. And I think what you're doing is important, good, worth me learning about. And I think that's a misconception that can often be perpetuated by coaches ourselves, that, we're here to tell you, like you were just saying, we're here to tell you how to do things. Well, maybe I know how to do like this portion of things that I can help you with, but you know how to do all these other things. So why can't we learn from each other? And I think if you're the person who's also learning, you're demonstrating growth mindset. So like just the idea of being a learner has layers of repercussions that help you build that positive relationship that will enable some vulnerability to kind of work together over time. So I think that is such a good point.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching today's episode. Don't forget to check out edurolearning.com for more great learning opportunities and connect with us on social media at Eduro Learning to stay up to date with everything we share.